Hello, lovely listeners. I feel like I've not said those words for a while and I've not been recording for a while. And it made me think about how often we have this narrative that in order to do something, we have to do it consistently. And by consistently, we mean we have to do it at the same time every week, or at least it has to get released at the same time every week. And I don't know about you, but there's nowhere else in my life where results require consistency. I don't require to speak to my friends every single week or let alone the same time every single week. That would be impossible. Um, I obviously also see this narrative or hear this narrative around fitness and health, but again, how often are we not doing something because we can't do it all the time? Or we can't commit to it every week or every day or however frequently we've decided consistency means. Um, and it makes me think of a few years ago, I was coaching someone and she wanted to have a newsletter in her business, but she was really beating herself up about not doing it consistently. And consistently for her meant every single week, as a lot of marketing narrative is, right? You want to be there every single week, which if you're on my email list, you know that is absolutely not how I operate either. Um, and the conclusion that we got to was this idea of writing love letters. Like when you think about writing love letters and whatever it is for you, but for her, when she thought about writing love letters, it took away the pressure, it took away the rigidity, and it actually allowed her to build what she genuinely wanted to build, which was connection with the people reading her emails. And in this world of AI, I think it's actually super easy and very unimpressive to, for example, just commit to sending any email every week. It's not like when we had to write them ourselves and override our brain. It's like literally someone else can write it for you. You don't even need to read it. It doesn't even need to be good, and you get to take up space in someone's inbox. I've personally, I dabbled with AI a little bit. I've just been going into all my emails and AIing them. I think AI is a tool. I've got no hate against it, but I think the way we've been sold, it's like almost going to do or should be doing all of this work. So we end up doing more work is very anti-time hacker-esque because it's not about how many things you do, how many emails you send, or how many podcasts you record. To me, it's about what are you creating with that? Right. For me today, my goal, just to share with you, is for listeners to kind of take a sigh and be like, oh, I don't need to do the thing the way that I've been told I need to do the thing, which actually means that I can start the thing. My hope is to inspire you to be more human and more imperfect. My goal is to invite you to consider to put down this, consistency narrative, which I would say is really just perfectionism. This perfect way to do something consistently, and also to stop outsourcing to timelines, right, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, whatever, however you're defining consistency, and start taking that power back to ourselves. So that's why I'm doing this. It's not about, so actually it suits me to not have been consistent. So you can see that I'm walking the talk, but that is my goal here, is to just give you that opportunity to breathe a sigh of relief and think about what is it that you are telling yourself you can't do now because you don't have time, but what you mean is you cannot commit every single week. You cannot commit through the end of the year, through the end of the month, or through the end of the week. So that is a reason to not do something that you cannot, do it on a regular basis, whatever that regular basis is, or that you cannot do it in the way that you've been told to do it. Nobody speaks about doing a podcast whenever you want to and creating an episode just because you fancy it. Nobody does that. Can I tell you something else? When I started my podcast, people were really advising me against doing a solo speaking podcast. Don't do it. It's really hard to get listeners. No one's going to listen. And we grew fast. We grew fast. We reached over 1 million downloads, but we did it fast. Or the other thing I was told was don't make short episodes. They've got to be long, they've got to be meaty. But I knew for myself, I wanted short episodes, and I'd literally switched off and not bothered subscribing to podcasts simply because they were like an hour and a half long. And I was like, I'm not going to listen to that. So I created what I wanted for me, and then the world moves. Also, I think about this in social media, but you guys definitely know this in this podcast. Like, I don't edit, I don't do fancy intros and outros anymore. My real belief is you just want to get to the meat, and I want to get to the meat. And I don't need to, waste your time. If you want to listen to music you choose, not what I choose, especially as I can't really sing. But all this to say, you get to do things your own way. And when you do things your own way, you do them. You do them. I had no thoughts about coming back today. I'll tell you actually the story that brought me back to the podcast because I do love the podcast and I have been in a personal year. I have been um shuffling things behind the scenes in the business. But what brought me back was being in a Facebook group. And you will hear this podcast interview with Zill and someone sharing something. And she commented about how much Time Hack had changed her life and shared all these things that I didn't know. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so inspiring. I have to get you on the podcast. We recorded a podcast. It was really fun. I'm now just graduated my current class of time coach grads. And I always invite them onto the podcast afterwards to share their experience. Every single person in that program gets invited. And I wanted to do it. And then I remembered how fun podcasting is. So I'm back. Maybe not every week, maybe sometimes 2 times a week. Let's see what happens. Definitely hit subscribe so you're notified when new episodes come up. But I really, really invite you to think about this for yourself. What would you enjoy when you get to do it your way? What are you delaying because you're waiting for perfect conditions or that ability to commit 3 months out, which like that is not life, and that is certainly not life right now. And I just really invite you to play with it, to do it, to do one thing. I'm thinking about this person I coached about writing love letters to her email list. Just write one. Just write one. Don't put the pressure to write more. I might disappear from this podcast again. I don't think I'm going to. But I might, and it's okay if I do, because this isn't, jail. This isn't, a box that I have to sit in. This is not going to define me. This is a tool to connect with you guys, a tool to share my musings, my learnings, my lessons, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, feel free to share, either emailing us or writing a review or share with someone you know. I know there's so many episodes here, and I also know one of the things that we've done that I don't think any other podcast in the world has done so aggressively is or so openly, should I say, is we've never changed our episodes. You can go back and listen to the first episodes where I was still really focused on anxiety and procrastination. You can see the evolution into Time Hackers. You can see the evolution into creating the certification, into creating the one-on-one coaching program, into creating the 15-hour work week, into, when I realized that there's a feminist angle here, and then I realized it's more than feminism for me anyway. A lot of people are excluded by traditional time management. Like you see it all. You see it when I had one-on-one clients. I mean, I still have very few one-on-one clients if people contact us. I don't sell it, but very few. But at the beginning, that was what I was selling. I'm sure there's like links that are broken to opt-ins that don't exist. Maybe that's frustrating for people, but I also think it's real, it's raw. It would be so easy for me to just wipe old emails. And sometimes I do think, should I just start a whole new podcast? And maybe one day I will because I get to do that. But for now, I do think it's very cool to see someone's unfiltered entrepreneurial journey from day -1, because I started this podcast before I even committed to coaching when I was still in my startup. So anyway, that's it from me. Just wanted to say hi. I'm back. Thanks for listening. Subscribe. Do the thing that you've been telling yourself you can't do because you can't do it perfectly or can't see where it's going to be in 3 months. And let me know if you enjoyed this episode. I have actually just changed my Instagram handle as well to Time Coach Vikki, Vikki. So let's have some fun there too. Thanks everybody for listening. Bye.